Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement presented by Barstool Sports, and welcome to a very special Hall H/Comic-Con edition of My Mom's Basement. We're going to be talking all the Comic-Con news that was released last week at San Diego Comic-Con, whether it be Marvel. We have a little bit of DC stuff to talk about, a little bit of Penguin stuff to talk about. Obviously, though, there's the big news was in the Marvel realm. Since the last time we recorded, Clem, something pretty life-changing happened for me. Robert Downey Jr. was brought back to the Marvel Universe, and he will be playing Dr. Doom. As you could see, Clem, if you're watching on a video platform, is dressed as Dr. Doom himself. No, what I'm actually referring to is I got engaged yesterday.
The basement. It's a celebration, bitches. Oh, what a glorious day. What a magnificent moment. Lady Fox officially will become the Lady Fox in holy matrimony. Big day for Bob. Congrats to you. Congrats to her. Congrats to both your families. Congrats to Faith.
Thank you.
Yep. Make this home a real home under the Lord, which is what we like to see. And it's just awesome, man. Like I tweeted out, that's a giant win for nerds worldwide. Get yourself a beautiful woman. Everyone said, they say it at Barstool all the time, but it's true. It's like, you outkick your coverage. There's a reason we get hired here, man. We're just charming people. We may not be your prototypical studs, but we're studs in other ways. And that's how Bob landed himself an absolute gem. So shout out to you guys.
Here's the moment. If you're watching on video platforms, drop to a knee. I did it in Hoboken yesterday. I was very nervous about it. If you listen to My Mom's Basement, you probably know I'm a bit of a nervous guy. Last week, I was throwing up. I was just trying to plan out the moment. I was lying about up fronts. My girlfriend thought she was pulling up to like a Barstool event. I had Roan sending me fake texts about what his wife is going to wear so she could prepare her outfit. It was all really going through my mind pretty much every moment of the last week, except for when I've been doing My Mom's Basement or when I went to go see Deadpool twice. Like, this has been my escape where I can go into the basement with Clem or go to the movies with Clem. He saw it, I was in the office pacing around even last week, but then as soon as we went to the movie, I was like, all right, I can take a breather for a sec. And it's part of the reason maybe I love Deadpool and Wolverine as much as I did.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a magical time that you're always going to think back to, like, that week before and then boom, that moment. So it was very cool.
Fun telling my fiance. I get to say that. It was fun telling her about the last week, about like, oh my God, I was so nervous about this. I slipped at one point the day before that I proposed. We're watching Presumed Innocent. Great show on Apple TV, by the way. We're only 4 episodes in, but fantastic. Gyllenhaal, he's the man. And I went to say, oh my God, I predicted that. And I went, oh my God, I proposed that. I mean, predicted that. And I was like, oh my God, it was like Austin Powers, mole, mole, mole. I just couldn't help myself. But when I told her that afterwards, she was like, oh, I didn't even pick up on that. She was so shocked. And not to get corny, but I've been dating my fiance now for 4 years. I've known that I was going to marry this girl since, like, I feel like before I even met her in person. Like, we met during COVID time. She messaged me on Instagram. It was like an Instagram slide thing. I drove out to Ohio to meet her. And I'm just so, like, happy that it finally happened. Like, I was ready so long ago. It was just a matter of making sure the moment was right and saving up and all that. But yeah, Lady Fox, she's the best. She's the best in the world.
And you're the best in the world, Bob. Hey, shout out my guy being the one to get, fished in. She threw the line to you and reeled you in.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually happen with such a beautiful young lady to be thrown in a basement. But I mean, hey, like I said, man got game. I got to ask, because, like, obviously I know a lot of these answers, but I think the listeners at home would like to know. Everyone who's been through an engagement and the terrifying, like, getting the ring, getting it in the house, making sure she doesn't find it, having to do the proposal, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot. I basically told you I felt really bad, but like the last week I kind of went zero dark 30-23, like our boy LeBron says, because I don't want to text anything about it, and then she could potentially just happen to see it when she's walking by your phone, or I already know you were a bundle of nerves. I didn't want you to be like cool, and then all of a sudden you get a text about it, and the anxiety bubbles up, and you're puking like Stan when he sees Wendy. So tell the people at home, after you got the ring, where did you hide the ring in the house that you share with your lovely fiance?
Let me see if I could pull up an actual picture of it so I could provide a visual reference for everyone as well. But I figured the basement boys and girls would probably appreciate the hiding spot. I had my sister go and pick up the ring because she lives near the jeweler. And shout out my guy Abe in Waldwick, Abe Jewelers. If you're in Jersey, this guy hooked it up. He's the best. I don't have the picture on my phone, but it was at the bottom of my Avengers Endgame collectible popcorn bucket, which is usually it's like behind me as I do my mom's basement. I have like, you'll see it's a bucket with like an Ocean's Calling hat on top of it. I knew there was no chance she was digging to the bottom of that bucket, but there was a little part of my brain that when I brought home the fuckable Wolverine bucket from the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere, it's like, Jesus Christ, I'm bringing home another nerd bucket. What if my girlfriend's like, all right, do you want to get rid of the one from a couple of years ago now? I was like, and that's not something she would ever suggest. It's just I was going through every worst case scenario in my brain of how she could find out, how I could slip, how someone else could slip. I went out this weekend with Tommy and Rhea and Marty. It was Rhea's birthday. We all went out down the shore. I was terrified because they all knew. And I was like, what if someone gets drunk and they mention something? Yeah. So I was trying to tell everyone, we have upfronts, we have a work event, we have a business event. And then Dave just so happened to be in the office on Monday. And It was the perfect cover up or narrative where I was like, oh, Dave's in the office for upfronts. She saw it on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. It seems so real. After the engagement, she was asking me questions like she didn't know what reality was. She was like, wait, was Dave in the office even real? I was like, yeah, that was real. It was just coincidence.
I flew in. He's a real big Bob Fox fan. I said, Dave, we really need to sell her on this. That's incredible. I didn't even put the two together because you even texted me like, you're not going anywhere this week, right? Because I don't want to say, hey, Clem's going to be at the upfront, but then you're posting pictures in like Florida or at the beach with the kids. Exactly. And I was like, no, I'm around. And again, I just was like off all social media as much as possible because I don't want, it's like a surprise party. If you tell me about a surprise party, I won't ruin the surprise. I just will not even acknowledge your existence for like 72 hours beforehand. So, I mean, that's awesome. I would imagine you were like, again, you said you were the bundle of nerves, just having it in the house. Again, the hardest part, I say this to anyone else who's listening who, has the one or it's popping the question down the road. The hardest part is finding the person you could pop the question to, and then I guess finding someone that will say yes. If you have either of those things up in the air, I imagine it's a lot harder. But like once you get through that, this is all just little stuff. You want to make it special. It's a once in a lifetime moment, hopefully for every person on the earth. So it was just like incredible to see. And then the other thing that I know always freak people out is once you have the ring on you day of, you're worried about losing it, you're worried about getting stolen, you're worried about her noticing it. Bob, can you give us a little preview of what the ring looked like in your pocket before you dropped to one knee?
So this was another thing. I didn't
I didn't
really prep for when it's the ring box. You want to do the thing where you open the box, fucking ka-chow. And when I put it in my back pocket, she was pulling up in an Uber and I had her like, she sent me, oh, my Uber's whatever. So I could see she's 4 minutes away. Let me put it in there. The ring was so big in my back pocket. Owen, who took the picture, shout out Owen from Barstool as well. He was calling me BBL Robbie. Look at the ass on that guy. That's America's ass right there. I mean, they was bulging out. And then when I was trying to like take it out, it wasn't coming out. I was reaching. There's pictures of me fucking fist deep digging in there. I said it was like Mjolnir. I was trying to pick up the hammer and it wasn't fucking budging for me. Eventually, I got it out as I was like dropping to a knee. I had to like fill for time. It was stressful, and I'm sure in the moment it was probably 10 seconds, but in my head, it felt like it was in there for the entire runtime of Oppenheimer. I was just fucking tugging at that ring like, I love you so much, and I want to ask you a question, and there's no event tonight, and it's just us. It was stressful, but I'll tell you what, the feeling afterwards of like happiness and joy and relief and calmness, the best feeling in the entire world. Like just having a glass of champagne afterwards, just going home, having that first post-engagement joint. That was a great relieving smoke. That was the other thing. The week before I got engaged, when I would smoke, I would get a little paranoid, which is so unlike me. Like, I know I had the heart attack story back in the day, but usually I'm very calm when I smoke. I would smoke and get so paranoid that I'd have to go into the shower so my girlfriend didn't see me like, oh my God, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. But yeah, it happened. Everything went to plan. Everything was perfect. I think she's so happy with it. I'm so happy with it. We got some nice pictures. So let's talk about some nerd shit. Because I know some of the nerds listening to this are like, we don't care about the lovey-dovey bullshit, Robbie.
Hey, the basement is also a place for people who have no interest in, finding a forever life mate. It's the safe space
That's
for
fine.
them as well. And hey,
Yeah.
if that's the case, just make fun of Bob for being so nervous it looks like he shit his pants the day of his gig. Because that looks like honestly you just
Yeah.
shit your pants because you were so scared. And again, that bend to the knee. Everyone who's done it will say it's the longest moment of your life. Everything goes in slow motion, and then if you can't get the ring out, I can't even fathom it. So shout out to you guys, and I also got to shout you out for absolute perfect timing. I know she's about to go home for a few days, and all her friends are married,
Yeah.
and you guys have been dating for a while, so she gets to like show the ring off. Hey, girl, get to do the whole thing, talk
That's
about
the reason I did it on a Monday.
Beautiful.
I know some people are like, why'd you do it on a Monday? We're going back to her hometown, Columbus, on Wednesday. So I planned it where she could see her mom and her friends and all her family and stuff. And then Pup Punk is playing a show in Columbus Friday night that a bunch of her friends are coming to. We're having a fucking huge celebration. If you're coming to see Pup Punk in Columbus on Friday or in Nashville on Saturday, we're celebrating. It's going to be a great, great celebratory night. All right, let's get into some nerdy stuff. My Mom's Basement, we're talking nerdy stuff. I figured before we even get into the Hall H Marvel stuff, let's do a little Deadpool fallout. Since we did our review before it actually dropped, let's tell everyone, biggest rated R opening day and weekend of all time, the 6th biggest domestic opening ever with 211 million, closing in on $500 million right now. I'm sure it's over $500 million. We're just waiting for the updates to come out. And a 97% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. This thing is absolutely beloved, even maybe more so than I thought it would be. And I'm so delighted about that. It's so much fun to have a movie this beloved by everybody universally, and we're all texting about it. We're all posting clips. People I sent you today are posting bootleg clips on Twitter that Disney's not even taking down, and Sean Levy, the director, is quote tweeting them. Sean Levy, whatever his name is, he's fucking quote tweeting bootleg clips. I think word of mouth is just so good for this that they're like, we don't give a fuck. We want everyone talking about it. We want everyone coming back to the theater to see it. I saw it twice at this point. I'll probably go back a third time. And I can't say that about a lot of movies in general, not just superhero movies, Marvel movies, Star Wars movies. There's not a ton. It's so much fun, though, that I haven't stopped thinking about it. And it's not just fun. Like, there's great performances. The clip I sent you of just Hugh Jackman freaking out at Deadpool. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. The one in the car.
Yeah, guys, we're gonna we won't do any spoilers.
No spoilers
so
on
worry,
this
if you haven't
show,
watched yet. Listen, opening weekend, you figure most people go. I know Brandon Clancy can't even go till today, Tuesday as well, and I know he's a diehard. It's like you're on vacation, you're with family, you just have like work, you have life gets in the way. So we'll keep it. If you want spoilers, we have a fucking like hour-long video where we just talk nothing spoilers and geek out about it. But this is the post movie like just review of it all, and when I saw the Rotten Tomato score I was like, holy shit, it really did hit, because you were hearing a couple of things like, again, it's not a perfect movie per se, but for like what it is, I think it's great, it's fantastic, and it's a fun ride. And I mean, they're eclipsing we didn't get the latest numbers, but I'm just gonna say they hit $500 million opening weekend.
By the time this comes out, they hit it.
From the time they opened till now, $500 million, ridiculous for any movie, let alone a rated R movie, which really limits the amount of people that might see it because of the gore and all that kind of stuff. And again, the Basement Boys, we went into that. It's kind of like probably you with that knee. We went in excited with also like the twinge of like, all right, there is like a 1 in 1 million chance this could all go terribly wrong, but we're not going to think about that. And again, just like with you, everything came up a W. And again, you have a good one, Robbie, when she said yes to you after what I imagine was you just talking about Deadpool things to her nonstop for 72 hours over the weekend. And remember when
nonstop.
Spoiler happened?
Nonstop. When I tell you I've been watching every single Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds video that is on the internet, it got to the point where I was like, hey, just let me know if you're getting sick of these, because I had watched like 5 in a row. And she was like, yeah, we could change it on the next one. I was like, okay, understood. Like, there's just so many things. Oh, and when they did this and when they did that, remember when this person showed up, and this is actually a reference to years before this happened, and this guy wanted to, and this, and she's like, all right, I got it. Even she asked me the night before we got engaged, she was like, oh, I'm gonna get my nails done again soon before we go to Columbus, maybe, like, do you have any ideas for me? And the real part of me wanted to be like, maybe something traditional, classic, I think you would want for photos, but I was like, I gotta throw her off the scent. So I was like, I saw Blake Lively just got Deadpool's mask on hers. She was just like, all right. Another thing I wanted to bring up while talking about Deadpool, though, I teased the dog pool screening when we did our recap. I was like, yeah, I'm bringing my dog to the movies to see this movie. I don't know how it's going to go. Clem, it went better than I ever could have imagined. The dog pool screening was awesome. Showed up at iPick Theaters in a South Street Seaport, which is beautiful. Just a nice area. Bring your dog to the dock and stuff. So it's Faith's first time in the city in general. And she was so well behaved. Like we went, you take a picture with dog pool on the red carpet, which I haven't gotten that picture yet. I'm still fighting to get that picture. I don't know where it is in the fucking Disneyverse. Dog pool did growl at Faith a little bit. They told me, I was like, going to bring Faith up, take a picture with her. Blind Al was also there, Leslie Uggams. She gave an intro for the movie. So wholesome, so great. And they were like, we're going to judge the comfortability of dog pool and your dog, Peggy's dog pool's real name. And they were like, we'll judge the comfortability. She's not always as friendly with certain dogs. So I go over there and she growls a little bit at Faith. And I was like, oh, Faith, never meet your heroes. You know, it's a sad moment. But we take a picture, which I'm still hoping to get. Go into the theater. You put a wee pad down. You had your own kind of pod. There were probably 20 dogs in the theater. I don't think there was one bark during the entire movie. It was crazy. They barked when people cheered before the movie, which was adorable because it was as if the dogs were cheering with us. And the whole place went crazy when dog pool showed up on screen. It was like the one thing in the movie that the theater cheered for because there were dogs in the theater. They had to turn it down so much that you really had to listen to get all the dialogue. So it wasn't as much cheering and uproarious laughter, but shout out Disney for inviting us to the dog pool screening. Faith's first movie, probably her last movie. I can't imagine we're going to be bringing her to the theater very often, but she sat through the whole movie, laid down, was good. I fed her popcorn because I was like, what's a movie without popcorn? It was great.
I mean, bark at the park when they do that with baseball games. That makes sense because you're outside and hey, if the dog pees, you just hose it down, and that goes with all the popcorn and drinks that spill throughout a game. Little different when you're doing it in indoor movie theater, especially iPicks. Which, listen, if you have an iPick near you you've never been to, I saw Infinity War at the iPick before it closed down, not too far from me, and it's incredibly. These little, like, if you get like the nicer seats, they're little private pods. Get some blankets on. Yep. It's like you're on the couch. You're in your own. Like you feel like you're in your own room. I took my shoes off. I felt like I was literally like at home watching it.
It's
so
awesome.
It was incredible. And then obviously, I was hoping they was going to be the case. It's like I feel like they have to turn the volume down and make it like dog friendly. So it sounds like they did. And based on listen, I think Ryan Reynolds might have went a little heavy with the dog pool, and I wasn't surprised by it. I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised at the amount of screen time he got. I imagine he will be back for every Deadpool from here on out, and I imagine there will be dog pool screenings from here on out as well. So hopefully we get those pictures. We figure out pictures to be smoothly transitioned for the rest of the way. And you mentioned her as well. I'm going to share this on the YouTube for the people that are watching the Rumble. Leslie Uggams, the young picture of Leslie Uggams was shocking to me. Shocking.
That's she was a fox back in her day. That is Blind Out. And how about this? We might just not be aware of her superstardom because when I said that to Large, he was like, oh my God, of course Leslie Uggams was a fox back in her day. I had a crush on her. And then when I told my mom that she did the intro for the screening, my mom went, oh, I love Leslie Uggams. And I was like, what do you know Leslie Uggams from? And she goes, everything. I was like, okay, Mom.
Oh, Mama Fox getting sassy with it too.
She loves Leslie Uggams. And honestly, I told you she was the opposite of Blind Al. Blind Al, you know, in all of the Deadpool movies, she's just motherfucker this, motherfucker that. You know, she's a bad bitch, fucking guns stocked in her apartment and everything. To the movie intro that she gave, it was like, oh, Peggy, she's such a movie star, and your dogs could all be movie stars. I hope this inspires your dogs. I couldn't believe the direction Peggy took. She really steals the show. I'm in this movie just in a small part. Peggy's the star. It was like so wholesome. And even when Leslie Uggams showed up on screen, people, cheered for her. So it was like nice to see that she got that as well.
Yeah, I love Leslie Uggams too, just like Mama Fox and Large do. Uh, just an incredible. I'm gonna have to go back and like look at the IMDb and see what else she's in because I got to see her cook because she's apparently beloved. And again, you're younger than me, but even that's above my head. So if we're dealing with Large, we're dealing Gen
Yeah.
X stuff. So shout out to her. She's absolutely awesome in all
She's
aspects
so
of the role.
funny in the movie too. Like I was happy that we got a good amount of her in the movie where they let her get some jokes in.
Yes, agreed.
All right, now let's get into the fun announcements, the stuff that I'm sure everyone's listening to the podcast for today. Marvel's Hall H panel at Comic-Con. When I say Hall H, by the way, that's the main event of Comic-Con. That's the biggest hall. That's the biggest arena. When people say Hall H, that's WrestleMania level stuff. And they said they're going to focus on just 3 movies. That was kind of a fib. They mostly focused on 3 movies. Those 3 movies being Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and the Fantastic Four: First Steps. That's the new title of the Fantastic Four movie. It was moderated by Peter himself, Rob Delaney, which I thought was nice to bring him in, and I'm sure everyone loved Rob Delaney. They started with Captain America: Brave New World. They said it returns to the grounded level of the Winter Soldier. Giancarlo Esposito, his character is called Sidewinder, and he is the leader of the Serpent Society. There will be the Celestial in the Ocean from Eternals addressed. He's also made of adamantium. All the Eternals apparently made of adamantium, which is very cool. And they showed footage where Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross turns into Red Hulk while giving a speech at the White House in front of everybody. So it might not even be a secret in this movie. And I just wanted to throw this in as well. Harrison Ford, when asked about who would handle snakes better, Thunderbolt Ross or Indiana Jones, he said, and I quote, "I've always treated these questions with both the utmost respect and complete disdain. I will not answer that stupid question, but thank you for the opportunity."
Our boy's cooking. He's back.
King.
Han Solo is back. Absolutely.
King.
Treats those questions like his landing gear on his airplane. Doesn't really want
Pays
to
no attention. Yeah. Everything I saw about Captain America: Brave New World excited me, especially more than anything, them saying we're returning to that grounded level of the Winter Soldier. Because when we saw the trailer, I said, oh, it actually does remind me of the Winter Soldier a little bit. And I feel like that's the lane for this Captain America to go. It's going to be great. I mean, Sam Wilson is Captain America without super soldier serum. He's just a guy. So you got to bring it down to that Winter Soldier level.
Yeah, you better, because he doesn't have the PEDs that your boy had rushing through his veins, which kids were probably imitating and
listen. People love the steroid era. People love McGuire. So
everyone loves home runs. Can't deny that. Seeing Harrison Ford do the Red Hulk pose, I was like, that's hilarious. It's also kind of sad that he's probably at this age being like, I can't believe I'm going to do this for the millions upon millions of dollars I'm getting invested. But it was hilarious. At least he's buying into it, Harrison Ford style. That's all I can ask. Thank God we get the Celestials finally getting addressed after all the fucking memes that have come out. The Serpent Society, again, we're going to have Jose in just to explain all the stuff from this announcement, as well as future Marvel stuff. Is Serpent Society, is there any Hydra? Those are both serpenty, right? So could that potentially be part of this, since it is a Captain America movie after all?
I don't know. And there was rumors that the Serpent Society was one of the things getting cut from the movie when they did the fucking 10th round of reshoots or whatever. It's like that joke in The Boys where they're like, it's the most expensive movie we've ever made because we just wrapped up our, next session of reshoots. But Seth Rollins, the WWE wrestler, is one of the people in the Serpent Society. We saw that from set photos. So I kind of hope that they didn't fully get cut, because I obviously they didn't if he's the leader of the Serpent Society, but I want to see Seth Rollins in a little role, kind of like we got GSP. That's another Bob Fox connection. I know not everyone will be stoked about that, but yeah, listen, this movie, I still worry about, like we talked about when we talked about the trailer, because it was made in that last Marvel era where they were cranking stuff out as quickly as possible, I think. But I have faith. I have to have faith as a Captain America guy. And who knows, maybe we get Cap on the moon at the end of this one. That'd be crazy. Old man Cap.
If they get, say the movie's a 7, 6.5, 7, they hit the right notes with the right post-credit scene, the right, and maybe 2 to 3 oh fuck moments, you can walk out of the theater all right. I think Deadpool is giving everyone a little bit of a cushion with some of this stuff, even though it's from a completely different universe. I have said, like, I'm on the record between this and Thunderbolts. If they shoot 1 for 2, with those being like movies that people really like, that's a huge win for the MCU. Because I do think Fantastic Four is the one is going to deliver, and I do think it's going to be such a fucking big moment. And then you're dealing with Avengers movies where I feel like we're going to be in good hands. We'll talk about it in a bit. This again, I just keep going back to the show with Cap and the Winter Soldier, and I'm just like, it was all right. It had its moments, and they also flopped some stuff. So I'm hey, Harrison Ford's awesome. Giancarlo Esposito's awesome. So like you said, gotta have faith, gotta go in. I don't think I will be turning the Trust the Feige light on after it. There's nothing I'd like more though, because again, I feel like the basement, like I feel like there's some momentum after that Deadpool.
Oh
right?
yeah,
There's some momentum.
absolutely,
Going, so
and the momentum, I think, without spoiling Deadpool and Wolverine, I think what helps the momentum is the fact that they acknowledge some of the mistakes or some of the things that people don't like, even in that movie. It feels like they're putting all their cards on the table and saying, we get it, bear with us. And I like that about the movie. And I like that about even the press tour felt like that. I loved one thing I didn't even have in my notes, but I thought I wanted to bring up. Kevin Feige said the response to X-Men 97 makes him really excited about how to bring that soap opera into the MCU. And I was like, oh, he used the phrase soap opera. Yes, that's what we got out of X-Men 97. And that's what we want more of. So him saying that, I was like, oh, I think they get it. I think they understand from X-Men 97 and from Deadpool and Wolverine what the audience wants again. I hope so, because we'll get to the announcement they made later on, which the audience was very split on. Like a lot of people didn't like that announcement. So
you mentioned him too. It's funny you mentioned him because I think this was made at a time where the MCU was like, all right, everything's moving along, and it was in that kind of like rudderless phase. I hope during these reshoots, which is now in post that, now that we're starting to fix the problems, I hope like some of those reshoots was Kevin Feige going in, putting his sleeves up and, getting in himself, being like, hey, let's do this, let's do that, giving some of his notes. Because I feel like those are the things that will be like, yes, that ruled in this movie. So hopefully him maybe being more hands-on with a couple things could fix this. I'm already saying it needs to be fixed. I haven't seen it yet. But I'm just going in with like, I don't even say low expectations, but just like realistic expectations.
And we're at a point now where I want post-credit scenes to start linking and connecting.
Yes.
That was something that we didn't even get. I feel like there's a little bit of revisionist history when people talk about the Infinity Saga, where they're like, everything was looped in and perfect. Not everything was perfect in it. Most of it was towards the lead in to the final Avengers movies, though. Everything from like Civil War to those Avengers movies did really feel like it was building to something, and you were building to what became like the greatest culmination ever. McFeely was a big part of that. Marcus and McFeely were the writers on all of the Russo brothers stuff. And they were a big part of crafting that universe and getting it back. We'll get to McFeely returning a little bit later, but the fact that he's back involved, I hope he kind of is able to map things out and say, okay, Captain America's post-credit scene should be with Val, and it should lead into the Thunderbolts. And the Thunderbolts could lead into whatever, Avengers Fantastic Four thing, and that should lead in. Everything should start linking and building back up. We got a couple of those in this phase that were decent with Shang-Chi, and the rings and the bangle, and we're looking at ancient things, and we have a bunch of Avengers together again. And then it's like, that was 3 years ago and nothing has been addressed since. You need to start building back up, which I have faith that they'll do that as well.
We got fucking Jon Snow. A tease about Jon Snow coming in, and that's just vanished, right? So
the voice of Mahershala Ali, who knows if that guy's even going to be like, he's going to be like Wesley Snipes' current age by the time that Blade movie gets announced. Because that was another thing. Everyone thought we were going to get something about Mahershala Ali or an update in any way at Comic-Con. Nothing at Comic-Con, which we still have D23 on August 9th. So who knows?
Yep, exactly. Also, you said Hall H was like the main event of the show. And I said to you, I said, hey, is there anything else, that people are saying is going to be bigger? Because obviously we have DC and, it could be House of the Dragon, even though they have their little studio things that they could do on their own, as well as Star Wars. Obviously they have the Star Wars, Star Wars Celebration.
Yep.
And you were like, nah, really just Marvel. And good work by everyone not having anything, because they would have just gotten wiped off the fucking page if they had, as it turns out.
Everyone knows, just leave the night to them. Like, they're going to get all the headlines. It's almost like WrestleMania, where wrestling companies aren't booking a show against them. Before we get into the rest of this stuff, let me remind everyone that the PFL playoffs kick off this Friday, August 2nd, with women's flyweights and heavyweights headed to Nashville. It's win or go home as fighters compete for a spot in the $1 million PFL World Championship. Don't miss the action. Friday, August 2nd. Again, it's 9 p.m. on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's a great card. Jack Mack and Big Ev are going to be in the building for it. I'll unfortunately be in Columbus, but I'll be trying to watch that on stage. I'll have it on my phone on the amp probably because it's going to be a great night. Again, the heavyweights, a lot of knockouts, women's flyweights, Dakota Ditcheva. We have an interview with her dropping this week as well. Tune in Friday, August 2nd, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus. And if you want to attend in person, tickets are still available. So go to the PFL site, check all of that out. Thank you to the PFL for sponsoring the show. Now we get into the Thunderbolts portion of the panel. They had David Harbour, who plays Hopper. He was there as Red Guardian. He was in costume, which was kind of cool to see. We didn't learn a ton about Thunderbolts. We got less than I thought we would. I thought they would show footage and a trailer and stuff. I don't believe they did that. At least not footage that I saw, not footage that leaked. But Sebastian said Florence Pugh is the standout of the movie. And we learned that the concept here is that the Thunderbolts are all individually hired for the same job, not realizing it's a setup to get them together. I assume by Val, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who was at Comic-Con. Cool to see her at Comic-Con. It's like some actors that you wouldn't expect in the MCU. Harrison Ford is a big one where people are saying, you're in the 616. Who do you think the anchor being is or whatever? And he's like, 616. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And he goes to the next person. Or Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Thunderbolts is another one where it could hit. It could hit on a great level where you have all these rejects and outcasts and make a great movie about that. It could also really be a swing and a miss. And I don't know where it's going to land. I hope they lean into, once again, the Winter Soldier grounded, kind of like gritty, maybe even a violent MCU side. But I don't know. I'm excited to see more of John Walker, the U.S. agent. I thought Wyatt Russell played him really well.
Yeah, I think that might be like the most pivotal role in it, where I think if he crushes, you could have enough fun with it and he carries it enough. And then the ensemble against, I think Florence Pugh could be awesome as well. At the same point, this is by far out of the three that we're going to talk about. This was like I cared the least about. I honestly, when you were telling me, I was like, I don't know if I even knew what the announcements were. I guess there really weren't many.
Now that I think back to, I think they did show footage. I'm thinking there was a tweet that said there was something about like Florence Pugh walking in and seeing Hopper and calling him dad or something. But there was like nobody was even really tweeting about that stuff. So that worries me a little.
Yeah, I mean, you get caught between Captain America and Avengers
and
stuff.
Fantastic Four and Avengers.
Fantastic Four, yeah, exactly. That'll tend to happen. But I guess part of me is, and I didn't see the first one. I almost am like, I could take, in terms of quality, maybe something in between Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad, because that's what everyone's comparing this to, right? So it's like maybe better than the first Suicide Squad, which I was told was not very good, and the second The Suicide Squad, which I saw and I liked. I won't even ask for that level, which by no means a perfect, awesome movie or anything, but it's like aim small, miss small, don't completely botch it. Again, I think certain moments and certain connective tissue, post-credit scene, all that stuff could make this like a better movie. Again, is this going to be a thing where they go, all right, we're going to do this afterwards? Feige thought of something to kind of like make it better. If so, that's fine with me. I'm just not going to be, I'm not dying to see this movie. I would have seen an opening weekend. This would be like a Sunday afternoon viewing if we didn't have the podcast, I think, if all things are considered.
They also put out a poster. Did you see the poster with the bullets on it? It looks like the Walmart logo.
Really?
It's like a strange, like, it looks just like the Walmart logo. They might have to change it for like a copyright reason. It's a little weird.
I read a thing saying like, does it all take place in a Walmart? And I was like, wait, is this a joke or is this serious? Because that would be actually, I kind of would fucking love that. It would be hilarious. All right, quick left turn on the podcast. I'll try to make this quick. I love just going to like a good wall. Like sometimes if I have to get something, I'll just go. I'm like, I'm going to spend like 20 minutes here. And so there's even times where I'm like, I'm going to treat myself $20 at Walmart. I'm going to see how much fun stuff I can get under $20. And it's always a blast to have.
Absolutely. I'm more of a Target guy. If I'm being honest, I would prefer a Target. But I have like a couple Walmarts near me, and I like going to a Walmart every now and then. You know what I like a Walmart is when we're on the road, like when we're doing a rough and rowdy or something. Me, Caleb, and Roan would go shopping for their wacky outfits or something together. I'd take a walk down the toy aisle, the Lego aisle, the
Always the toy
electronics
aisle.
aisle.
Oh
The
yeah.
best. Yeah.
When I'm too old to go down the toy aisle, just put a fucking put a
Adamantium
weapon in my
bullet.
head. Yeah, put an adamantium bullet in my head because I've apparently worn out my welcome here on Earth, and nothing will get you more in the rough and rowdy mode than going through a Walmart. Because no matter where you are in the country, I go to one in Connecticut. It's in a pretty nice spot. It feels like I'm in the middle of Florida. It's like no matter where you are, it's incredible.
Also, a point I wanted to make about the Thunderbolts, and it might be too late to incorporate this because of Deadpool and Wolverine, but I thought one of the biggest strengths of Deadpool and Wolverine was that a lot of the quote unquote cameos were like actually characters in the movie. It wasn't just like, oh, remember that person, point to him, and that's it. They like actually serve a purpose and serve a role. And Marvel has so many characters, even people that we haven't seen brought into the movies ever, or people that we haven't seen brought into the MCU, this universe, where I think it's worth it to like introduce us to comic book characters that we love and give them a 10-15 minute role in the movie. So it's not just, oh, remember that guy. It's just like an exciting moment for the movie. Like Thunderbolts is the perfect place for that, where there's a lot of random outcasts in the MCU that you can redeem in the same way that like Shang-Chi redeemed, was it the Mandarin? Like that was awesome with Ben Kingsley. I would love to see even Ben Kingsley in this. Like you could bring him into the Thunderbolts in a small role, just like he had in Shang-Chi. So I hope we get a little bit of that, and we don't know the full team yet, or we don't know the full cast.
That's actually a great point. You know, as these movies keep coming, you keep getting more Marvel character. The roster keeps growing because you know you have the rights and stuff is expired on old contracts and stuff. So yeah, throw those in, have fun with it. Throw Wong in all these fucking movies too.
Yes.
Who doesn't love Wong, right? What was the name of Timothy Roth's character?
The Abomination.
Like we loved him in She-Hulk.
Yeah,
so it's,
he was great with his retreat. Yeah.
Yeah, there could be some really fun directions you take this, and it's like I hate to say it, like there's probably a downside to it, but like when in doubt, like throw a cameo, make it mean something. I think that kind of works, and you don't want to make it too crazy, but I mean, let's be honest, like we just saw it work in Deadpool so fucking well.
I was gonna say you could do it in a non-cheap way, and it does work for Deadpool more easily because it's a comedy, and it's like you know. People compare it to No Way Home a lot. And I think it's actually a fair comparison because both movies are like spectacle movies, and people are using it to shit on No Way Home, which, you know, I hate. I love No Way Home. I hate the people that have turned on it, but it is like, it feels a little more natural to do the big cameo moments in a lighthearted, goofy comedy than it does in a very serious, grounded movie where like Aunt May's dying and shit like that. Still, don't shit on No Way Home. The way the internet flipped on that one, I'm almost waiting for them to flip flop on Deadpool and Wolverine the same way. In like 2 months, people are going to be like, it's a cameo fest. It was just, you know, it was fun in the theater, but you can't watch it at home. It's not rewatchable. And like, just wait. They'll turn.
It's gonna happen. It happens with everything in life. I didn't realize, you know, till I started going on the internet more, I didn't realize Forrest Gump was actually a bad movie. You know, I didn't realize.
Those people.
You know, it's like just the Beatles are terrible. They're a terrible band.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, is this what you guys do here? Has that always been like this? So again, they're gonna say it. We've made our points about Deadpool and what it is and what it's not. But it's like, but I do think those cameos, like you said, especially hit when the movie's super meta and self-aware and knows what it's doing. So it makes it easier, but still, like at the same point, Marvel, if you know you have like a little bit of a dog on your hands, there are ways to fix it. The movie has not come out. It's not finished. You can still edit it.
Now we get into the Fantastic Four First Steps. I like that title for it. I like that we're not just for the third time in a row calling it Fantastic Four. Like, all right, First Steps, that fits. It's set in a retro future 60s. They described it as like straight out of the Jetsons. They described the Fantastic Car as that, which they brought out. The Fantastic Car like floated onto stage. It's a cool effect they did for Comic-Con. Everyone did the oohs and ahs when they saw it. And they showed some pre-shoot footage. So I don't think any of this stuff was actually meant to be in the movie or anything like that, but it's like in a 4:3 aspect ratio. It looks old school. Pedro Pascal's like teaching a class. It's like old school accent he has and everything. And it just leaked. So I don't know if you're able to find it on Twitter. You probably are, or on social media. I think it's worth watching. It made me smile. It's just very like lighthearted and goofy. there is a quick shot of Galactus's eyes. I thought we were going to get an actor announcement for Galactus here, but we didn't. So that's still out there. Michael Giacchino will be doing the score, who does the score for so many of Marvel's best projects. The Batman he did. He also directed Werewolf by Night. And Pedro Pascal, just a fun note about this, Pedro Pascal has known the director, Matt Shackman, for 25 years. And he said they were almost roommates in 1999, but Shackman came in, saw the place, and was like, yeah, I'm not moving into this shithole. And they confirmed Fantastic Four will be in both Avengers 5 and 6. Everything I've seen about this pretty much excites me. I think this is very, very, I think a small target to hit, Fantastic Four, obviously, but huge upside if you do hit it. The only worry I have, it's supposed to come out in like less than a year, and that's not a lot of time to do CG.
Yep, seems very quick. I'm a little nervous about that for sure. But this one, it's like, I'm really just going to hope it's fucking good. I'm not even looking for great. I'll take good to very good is what I'm hoping for, and we just need to hit that mark. It's such an important thing. I heard it's not going to be another origin story, so we're not going to have to go through
they
all
said
that stuff.
They were like, don't worry, you're joining and the Fantastic Four, you fucking get it. They're like, you know what their powers are at this point.
And this is like, I'm sure Jose could speak even more on it, but like, I grew up reading a little bit of Fantastic Four, not a ton. Like, they are so goddamn instrumental to the Marvel universe, the Marvel Comics universe. And the fact that they made it this far without the first family, as they call them, that like, it's kind of amazing. So once they're here, I think it's going to, rising tides lift all ships. I think it's going to be great for everybody. And I do think the villains that come in through them, and then the way you can tie franchises and movies together, it goes together so fucking well. So I just swear to God, though, just do not. I'm going to just give them the green light. Just Secret Invasion never happened if you didn't want it to happen. Don't feel like you have to throw Khaleesi with the Drax arm. Don't need to see that. But I will say this. I would love some Olivia Colman. I would also take Olivia Colman in Thunderbolts. Either or.
Yeah. That'd be a good spot for her.
Right?
Yeah. That'd be great. And like, there's European characters, that like, it makes sense for them to cross paths with her, I think.
I think that should be one
that's a great call.
If they need to improve that movie, I think you just throw a little pinch of Olivia Colman.
Hit the Colman button.
It's like nutmeg. I don't know what nutmeg is, but it's fucking good. Whenever you put it in something, that's Olivia Colman.
Yeah, that's a great call. I love that. And now we are 42 minutes into this podcast, and Clem has been dressed as Dr. Doom the entire time, not being able to see anything. So let's get into the big announcement. We're texting each other during the panel. All right, we got news about this. We got news about that. Nothing earth-shattering, nothing that's like we need an emergency podcast for. And they're like, and you said to me, you go, usually they have and one more thing. And this was there, and one more thing. They confirmed the report that we already pretty much knew was going to be a thing. The Russo brothers will be directing Avengers 5 and 6. 6 being Secret Wars, 5 now being retitled to Doomsday. And the entire Hall H turns green. People lose their fucking minds. Oh my God, it's Doomsday. Everyone forgets about Kang like that. And they say Stephen McFeely will write both. So it's not Marcus and McFeely. They wrote everything together. Part of me is like, what the fuck, Marcus? Why aren't you coming back, Marcus? What are you doing that's more important than this, Marcus? But I'll let him ride off into the sunset. He gave me a lot of great stuff. It seems that Alan Silvestri will compose the movie. He composed Endgame as well. And they bring out Doom on stage. They say there's only one guy that can play Victor Von Doom. Interesting that they say Victor Von Doom specifically there.
Yes.
He takes the mask off. And in that same pose he has at the end of the first Iron Man, it's Robert Downey Jr. Gasps, pops. It's like comparable to a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Everyone goes nuts. He posted the same new mask, same task. Avengers 5 will come out May 2026. Secret Wars will come out May 2027. And the early report about Robert Downey Jr., he basically demanded the Russos come back. He's like, I'm not coming back unless the Russos are doing it. He's getting significantly more than 80 million because they're saying the Russos are getting 80 million. Robert Downey Jr. is getting significantly more than that. Personal security on set, a trailer encampment, private jet travel. All of that came out almost as if they were saying like Downey Jr.'s got all these demands. That all seemed like obvious to me. If you're bringing like Tony Stark back to the MCU, like he gets security, a private jet and a big trailer. Yeah, I would hope so. And they said he's already made 500 to 600 million as Tony Stark, and now he'll be restarting his career as Victor Von Doom. A lot of people are upset about this. They're saying, why would you do that? You're going back to the well. It's a desperate act. It's bringing back Palpatine and Rise of Skywalker. Surprise, surprise. I'm optimistic about it. I think this team, McFeely, the Russo brothers, Robert Downey Jr., know what they're doing in the MCU. I have more faith in them with the MCU than I have in anyone else. I think they have the best proven track record yet. And I think there's a lot of awesome opportunities with Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom, which that's another confusing thing. Why isn't he a Tony Stark variant who became Doctor Doom? Why is his name Victor Von Doom? I mean, we know there can be people that look different and be different variants and stuff like that. So I assume we'll get all of that addressed, possibly even in the Fantastic Four before these movies. But I think there's a lot of cool opportunities. Tom Holland having to fight, someone that looks like Tony Stark, his idol. The fact that this is the guy that saved the universe, and now there's a variant of him that wants to destroy it. The fact that it's Robert Downey Jr., he's a great actor. He could pull off anything. You watched him in Oppenheimer. That's absolutely worthy of the Oscar that he got for it. And the fact that it's a post-Oscar Robert Downey Jr. too, he's got to be coming back for something good. I don't think it's just the money. He's already made 500 to 600 mil. Clem, how do you feel about this?
I'm with you. And I think everybody. I think everyone was like, holy shit, what the fuck? Did they really have to do that? And hey, listen, first of all, Robert Downey Jr., the only thing better than being the face of a super duper successful tentpole franchise that makes money on money is having that franchise or having that, cinematic universe basically collapse as soon as you leave, and then but they still have deep pockets and are like, all right, we're just going to give you whatever you need because we have to get this ship back, on track here. So shout out to him, shout out the Russo brothers, shout out Silvestri, shout out what was the name of the guy who wrote it?
McFeely.
Shout out McFeely. Like, everyone should cash in. We've said this with, all the, the hits in terms of the MCU, and then all the flops as well. People that clearly can do it, people that clearly care, and people that are talented. I want those people handling all the movies if possible, let alone the really big important ones. I'm sure on Kevin Feige's whiteboard, there was a lot of options of how they were going to pivot from Kang and the Kang dynasty or whatever to, Doomsday. And I'm sure, I'm sure Robert Downey Jr. wasn't the only option they had. I'm sure they mapped out other potential actors, other potential storylines they could get to. I do think Secret Wars was going to be kind of the end game of it all, for lack of a better term. Completely said that by mistake. And, they took it. I do think there is like a good fucking ceiling here. The flow is low. The floor is low, but the ceiling is high. And again, these guys have done it before. And like Robert Downey Jr., sure, he has a ton of money, and he, like you said, has his Oscars. He really has nothing else to really prove in some sense. I'm sure he doesn't want to fucking destroy his legacy with this too.
No.
And same with the Russo brothers. These people care. Just like we care about this stuff, so do they. So because of that, I'm not going to go in like upset. I think they could do some cool stuff with it. And I also do think, I want to know your theory on this. I don't think he's going to be the long-term Doom. And I do think it could get kind of funky when like you then have another, like if we had we kind of did have two Thanoses, right? We didn't have Brolin till the end.
Yeah.
But like, I do think that we could have this Doom and then it ends with another Doom. Because I've seen a lot of people say basically what they think is going to happen is, I think this happened in the books, is Secret Wars basically reset everything to just become one universe. And we need that. We need to have one universe with the Fantastic Four, with all 616, throw Deadpool in there, get the X-Men for the Mutant Saga that's coming up. And if that kind of gets it all together, and then we end up having a Doom, because we need to have a Doom. Doom needs to be around. We can't just, we can't just have him get snapped away. We need to have him around. We need to have some of these big bads come around and always be a threat and, potentially team up, turn good, all that stuff that comes with the comics. I think we can get there, and I don't think this Robert Downey Jr. thing is going to torpedo it. Can it torpedo it? Yes. I remember what was there was always the Goldberg, WCW to Titanic and Goldberg and all. I remember people saying that. So it's like there is a chance that this big name ends up kind of fucking them over. But I really think it can end up well. I do not know which way it's going to go. Trust me, guys. I've reviewed all the shitty movies you guys were nice enough to listen to. I do not have like 100%. The Trust the Feige sign light is not on in here right now. You guys can see that. It could be on by the end of this saga, though, and that's all I can ask for.
Oh, you got the little thumbs up on your screen there.
Nice. Oh, that's a good sign. Good juju from
that
the
is a good
gods.
sign. And for the people that are very anti this, and I've seen a lot of people just anti variants in general, and they're done with the multiverse. I understand. It hasn't all been good with the multiverse, and I'm also ready for them to wrap this up and us to get into the mutant saga and kind of have one of every hero again. But we can't just sweep that under the rug right now and say variants weren't a thing. The multiverse wasn't a thing. They're kind of doing that with Kang already. I assume the movie's going to open with like Robert Downey Jr. killing a bunch of Kangs or something. But you can't just sweep it under the rug. You have to give us a finale of some sorts. What's the biggest variant you could bring back for that finale? It's Robert Downey Jr. as a Tony Stark variant for sure. Now you combine him with Doom, who's one of the biggest villains. And I know some people are upset about that too. Jose is actually like a little upset that they're not doing Victor Von Doom. He's like, Victor Von Doom is such a good character. Why would you take away from that by making him like Tony Stark, Victor Von Doom? And like you, I believe we will one day get a Victor Von Doom in Marvel 616. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is him. I also noticed they made a big point to be like the Fantastic Four will appear in both Avengers 5 and 6. They did not say the same thing about Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. So I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they said he's just back, and they're like, he'll be in Doomsday. So are they going to beat him in Doomsday, and the real Doom is going to be in Secret Wars? Or like everything is still on the table. I almost feel like we're back in The Acolyte, where everyone's yelling about Ki-Adi-Mundi lied to the Jedi, and it's like, let's just let the series play out and then judge it. I'm not even saying let's wait for the movie to come out and then judge it. Let's wait for us to figure out a little bit about the plot. Let's wait for us to see a trailer. Let's wait to hear from Robert Downey Jr. a little more. I think with the projects that this specific team has given us, we owe them that. We owe them just, let's see how they do. And again, fully acknowledging in May 2026, I may be like, fucking A, I was an idiot.
Yep. I am notorious for saying with Infinity War, I was like, I just don't understand how they're going to pull this off. I was like, I thought it was going to, every time we had like a huge ensemble cast, you have all these different parts, they just never fit together well. And it was credit to the actors and also the writing and just everything about it, obviously. I have like after that with the egg on my face, it's like, all right, you guys cook and I'll tell you what I think of it. And that's the one thing about the basement. We're going to be honest. You know, we've always said that we're going to say it one way or the other. We'll try to see the good side and stuff, but we'll also see the bad side. And it's like Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Victor Von Doom. I thought you were saying that people were upset that Doom is coming because I think that was the only true pivot you could have from Kang. Which let's
go Doom.
Let's make this point on the podcast. Robert Downey Jr. coming in, $80 million, private jet, and Cam, and yada, yada, yada. How much of a bag fumble did Jonathan Majors do? Ball fumble, whatever you want to call it, completely fucked himself. Fucked everyone kind of in the cinematic universe.
Fucked our boy Michael Waldron.
Asshole. Fuck Michael Waldron, our boy.
I haven't even talked to him, but like
he's a Braves fan, so don't feel too bad for him.
I haven't talked to him, but yeah, he was the original writer of the Kang Dynasty, and we heard McFeely, and there's part of me, of course, that's like I love all of McFeely's work, so I'm excited about that. But I was excited for our guy. And I hope that he's still got Marvel projects or Star Wars projects or something on the horizon right now. I'm sure he's always working on stuff. But yeah, I hope that he's still doing stuff with the MCU.
That boy's grinding in a basement somewhere right now, you know, or probably like a fucking Malibu beach house overlooking the Pacific
Waldron,
Ocean.
Come on.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing it the right way for sure. But and then also kind of touching on, I do think like I'm hoping by the end of Secret Wars or some point during that time, we get like a Kang back. Kang and Nathaniel Richards and all that kind of stuff. That is very much in the Doom Fantastic Four universe. So we can still get like a real Kang and one that could become like one of the tent poles for the MCU going forward from the villain side. So I'm excited of how it could all go down. And I mean, if you can't have faith in the Russo brothers doing this right, then like I guess try watch Endgame and Infinity War again, and then come back, man. If it doesn't work, watch it again, and doesn't work, watch it again, and then at some point you'll be like, all right, it's better than. I just think there's a universe and a multiverse right now where Bob Iger doesn't come back to Disney, doesn't say, hey, we got to fix this shit. We don't have, Ryan Reynolds getting Deadpool 3. That universe, that's like the one that's probably like dying right now. That is their alpha being or whatever it was.
We'll probably get some more Marvel news on August 9th at D23, as I mentioned. I know Charlie Cox, the actor that plays Daredevil, already mentioned he's going to be there. Yeah. Daredevil is another one where we thought maybe we'll get a teaser or a trailer or something. I assume we'll get that there. And then the only thing DC unveiled their new DC Studios logo. It's the old DC logo. This with the James Gunn just knows what he's doing, hitting the nostalgia bones. But we got a Penguin panel. The Penguin moved from just a Max show. Now it's going to be HBO's Sunday night show. That already puts it up a few notches. And Matt Reeves did a panel with Colin Farrell and the creative team behind it. Matt Reeves said he's only seen Colin Farrell without the Penguin makeup like 2 or 3 times. So it's very strange for him to see him normal. And they said the show sprung out of the original idea for the Batman 2. He was going to open the Batman 2 with Oswald rising to power. Eventually wanted to dive more into that than a movie would have time for. So he pivoted, started writing the show. Colin Farrell said the first day that he put on the makeup for the makeup test to see if it was what they wanted, took 7 hours, and he spent 2 months on dialect work, creating that accent. And he said the 7-hour day was one of the best days of his life. He absolutely loves it. He loves playing this character. It premieres September 19th. And they confirmed that Colin Farrell will return as the Penguin in the Batman 2 as well. So they're basically like, don't worry, we're not killing him off in this show. He'll be back. But everything we've seen, we got a new trailer as well. Looks awesome. I feel like a broken record saying it's very Sopranos-esque. We heard from our boy Justin Kroll. It's also a little Departed-esque. He's like the way they lean into the mob stuff, a little Departed-esque. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. And there's also rave reviews for that new Batman cartoon that drops on Amazon August 1st.
I know it sounds crazy, but the fact that they're making that the 9 p.m. HBO show, I mean, I don't know if anyone even has HBO on their cable anymore, or if all just app stuff, and the fact that it's just unlocked on your app at 9 o'clock on the Max app of all things. It's not even HBO Go anymore or anything like that. It just makes me feel better. It doesn't make any sense, but it is one of those things that is the cleanup hitter. That's center field for the Yankees. That's, the point guard for the Lakers. It is the prestige spot in television. It has been. House of the Dragon is there now. We grew up, Sopranos was there, right? And just something different about when that hits, you're like, this shit is higher quality. I know they filmed it before it was to that spot. However, they're putting it in that spot after the filming, which actually feel even better. And hey, there's a good chance it just completely falls on its face because, regardless of that. But in my mind, I feel better about that now than I did before they said it was at 9 p.m. on HBO. Again, pretty much just people's parents still have regular cable right now.
I guess,
I have YouTube TV and I don't even think about getting it on there. I just get the Max app and I can just go through everything on there. So that makes me feel very good about it all. I have to rewatch the Batman. It's been a while. Was that how long? What was the runtime on that bad boy? Was that 3 hours? A legit 3 hours?
3. It's a legit 3. I've seen the Batman so many times. I remember I saw it. I think maybe at the screener, then brought my girlfriend to see it. I saw it a couple times in theaters, definitely at least 3. And then we went back to Columbus, and my girlfriend's, or now my fiance, I got to get used to that. Her friends were like, hey, we're having a party where everyone's coming over to watch the Batman. It finally hit Max. And my girlfriend had just seen it in theaters multiple times. She was like, oh, great. And I was so excited. I was like, this is going to be an awesome party. Everyone's quiet for 3 hours watching Batman. I even put it on. I had a flight from Vegas pretty recently for UFC 303 or whatever it was.
That's when you bought the ring.
With no audio.
You're like, I can marry her because her friends will watch the Batman. So this can work.
I joked to her that she sent me before she moved to New Jersey. We were still long distance for a little bit. And the day that Mando, I think season 2 or 3, I think probably season 2. Yeah. The day it premiered, she sent me catered fucking cupcakes, Baby Yoda, Beskar,
Oh,
Star Wars logo. And I was like, oh yeah, the ring was basically, I started looking then.
so a lot
That's
of
all the
exciting
news
stuff.
I had, though. Yeah, a
What?
lot of exciting stuff on the horizon for not only the basement, but for me personally. Big week for me. Yeah, you could
Our
finally
boy
take
Bob
that off.
Fox growing up right before our
That was
eyes.
true
I mean,
commitment to the
we always
bit right
talk about
there.
this, how Barstool is kind of like it's the internet's reality show. And, we saw it with Dave, Big Cat, and Kevin, how they've grown and they have marriages, kids, yada, yada. And Bob Fox is the baby of it all. And once the baby's, getting hitched, then you all start feeling old. So congrats to you guys. It's
People
awesome.
some people tweeted me that they were like, I feel like I watched you grow up. And I was like, you saw me straight out of high school and now I'm 26 and engaged.
A man, I mean, it seems like just yesterday you were telling Dave how there was no cum coming out of your dick.
Someone said that too.
That's your origin story, Bob. For better or worse, that's the origin story.
For better or worse, it is. That's my issue 0. All right. Thank you to everyone for listening to the basement. Do we have a hashtag this week? Some kind of fun hashtag?
Let's see.
Hashtag Doomsday.
I was gonna say Bobby Rings, because now we have you, and then not to mention your fucking pommel horse doppelganger. Shout out to him.
Know that guy. Everyone's tweeting me that too. A bronze medal and an engagement in one day. Guy really does look like me. He tweeted me like 4 years ago when he was in the Olympics 4 years ago. The same thing happened. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, that guy looks just like you." And I'm pretty sure the guy was like, "Hey, I've been getting that a lot."
That's all.
So shout out to that guy.
That's incredible. You know what? You can think of one. I'm going Bobby Rings. It's only
Bobby
you only
Rings.
get engaged
Bobby
once.
Rings.
He is the Olympic rings. It works. Bobby Rings. Shout out to both you guys. Absolutely crushing life. We have a lot of fun shit coming down the pipeline here. So this is, like you said, exciting times for sure.
All right. We'll talk to you next week.